Hi folks, Tim here. Welcome back to Elmendorf Acres. Well, it is a blustery and chilly November day. It's, I would say, somewhere right around 40 degrees out right now. It was pretty chilly last night, and actually the night before last, we had our first dip down into the teens for the season. So we are well on our way into winter. And what that means for me is we are transitioning from leaves and lawns and kind of making the jump over to firewood. So we've got a few different jobs we've got to wrap up. We've got a couple that we didn't even get to start yet because we've had such a busy year with the lawn mowing. So today's plan is to go and see my buddy Adam, who has the IBC totes. Now the IBC totes are a love-hate relationship with many people. I personally love them because they work really, really well for our firewood here at the house. And we go through somewhere in the area of about 4 cords, depending on the winter. But the average winter is 4 cords. A cold winter will do 5, and a light winter will do 3. But it works really well because I can fill these totes, bring them down to the house, and set them right on the porch. So if you look right here, you can see I've got 2 totes sitting side by side on the porch. They're stacked pretty high. I pulled a little bit off the front one already, but that's how we do it. I can bring this tote down here, set it right on the porch, and not have to move firewood, stack firewood 3 different times. And this is a great way to store it for me around the wood yard. So when they're in the totes like this, my Massey 2850 picks these up with no problem. And this is kind of a not great firewood that I've got in these totes right now. If you look close, this is ash. Some of it's a little dozy, as we like to call it. It's not super hard. Doesn't have a lot of BTUs, but rather than just throw it and letting it rot, which takes quite a while, I'd rather burn it in what I call the shoulder season of the year, which many times is our November and our March time. So once we get into that December, January, that nice cold, then I like to run that oak, hickory, maple mix. But this time of the year, I've got some of the less desirable oak and some of this ash to mix in, so it works pretty well for us. We also use the IBC totes to move and store all the firewood for the maple syrup operation, and that is an absolute ton of firewood. So right now I've got, I think, 8 or 9 of these totes up at the property filled with wood for myself for this winter. And it's good hardwood that they're all filled with. And we've got probably 8 or 9 as well filled with this hemlock and pine that we use for the syrup operation, or the sugar operation as we like to call it. So I've been collecting these IBC totes for a while, probably sometimes 4, sometimes 6. I think the last load I did was actually 6. Depends on when Adam has some that are dents and bents, as we say. And they are not premium totes. They've got a dent or they're missing a little piece or something like that. But to use that tote for firewood, it works perfectly well for that, especially since I'm going to be cutting some of the cage away anyway. So that's the plan for today, is to go get the dump trailer and go down and see Adam. So stay tuned. Okay, so before I go too far, I want to show you what I meant by some of the junkier oak. And you see where this has, we call it dozy. I don't really know what the real term for it is, but see this rot layer around the edge? This was all standing dead rock oak. So some of this works really well for getting a fire going in the morning. You can see that it has that ring around the edge of it. It's still good firewood, especially this part in here. And for me, I don't really want to throw it away. So I don't mind burning stuff like this, especially in the shoulder season. And as you get into the bigger pieces, you can see that is a nice, good, hard center there. So that stuff burns really well. It's rock oak, a lot of BTUs in that. So this is a little bit of my porch pile, just a mix of kind of whatever we have cut over the course of the year. Little, you know, wheelbarrow load here, wheelbarrow load there. And then you can see how we stack these IBC totes. Usually I pull from the front one. I let the back one sit as long as we can, because once we get a lot of snow, sometimes it's a little hard to access the porch. But again, this is some ash that's not in the best of shape. As you look at it, it's starting to get pretty crappy, for lack of better wording. But I know some guys are still selling a lot of this stuff We don't really sell any of it. We just save it for our own stove at this point because, yeah, there's definitely good BTUs in there, and I don't want to just throw it away. We also have a very curious puppy over here. Oh, two of them. Hi. I'm sure they're interested into what's going on today. What do you think? More firewood? You like firewood? They like laying near the stove, I can tell you that. Okay, so I am back from Adam's shop, and I picked up 10 totes from him, and while we were there I picked up 25 pounds of ground beef as well. He does firewood and he does these totes, and he lives on a farm and they raise beef there, so I figured, hey, while we're there, let me grab some beef, throw it in the freezer, mix that with the venison that we usually fill the freezer with now that we're in that time of the year. A little bit of the side note is opening day is Saturday, so good luck to any of the guys that are going out and gals that are going out on opening day. A bunch of us have already been out for the early season. I'm being a little non-specific here. But anyway, I'll show you what we do here with these totes. We've got two, in the front, we've got two 330-gallon totes. These already had the plastic removed, which is great for me. If you see right up here in the front, you can see there they're taller. Those are 330-gallon totes, and these in the back, I've got them double stacked. These are 275s. So usually we'll do 2 of the 330s in the front, and then we'll do a row of 4 and another row of 4 as far as the IBC totes go. So Adam was using these for his own firewood, and when I texted him earlier, I think today or maybe yesterday, he said, yep, come on down, I just emptied a bunch and I'll throw them on your trailer. So that's the plan. These totes make it really easy for us to move firewood around the wood yard. We don't have a big firewood bunker like some people have. I know some people actually have a big enough bunker where they can fill one side of the bunker and then the next year switch to the other side of the bunker. That way they've always got 1 year of seasoned wood laying there, or a firewood that has been seasoning for 1 year. We don't have that option. Maybe someday we will, but right now we don't. So you can kind of see what we've got going on here. I've got one tote laying like this. They're really easy to roll around the wood yard this way too. Flip them on the side, you just roll them to where you need them, and then once they're full, we've got the pallet forks on the tractor. And then this guy here, we did a partial fill, I think it was on Friday, of this one here, and this is just stuff for me again, that stuff right there. So as far as moving it around the wood yard, this works well. We take any of them that have the containers, we cut them in half on a diagonal. It makes a little peaked roof, and it actually works really well. And another trick we found is if we use that pallet wrap and we wrap it right around the outside of this metal cage, it almost acts as a greenhouse and bakes that wood, and it gets it so it's a little more seasoned, a lot faster for us than just sitting out. So that's kind of the plan now, is we got to get the rest of these unloaded. You can see back there, I've already got 2 of them off. I got 2 stacks of 2 off, so I've got 4 of them off already. And then we're going to continue on. So this is what we do with the Wolfe Ridge. I don't have anywhere to get it out of the weather. But what we do is we take a big tarp and we tarp everything from the fittings on the back all the way up to the sorting table. So I got a big enough canvas tarp to do that. I like the canvas because it does breathe. So you don't get all that moisture buildup underneath. Up in here would have moisture buildup otherwise a lot of times. You can kind of see how we did it. The engine's under there, it's protected. All the hydraulic cylinders are protected. And any of the electronic, not that there's much, but any of the electronics is protected. I'll just flip this off so you can see. Stuff like this, I like to have that stuff undercover, right? This is our cooling fan. And of course the battery for the electric start's all down in there. This is a little bit of the wood I'm going to be cutting up, putting in that pallet. This is rock oak. You can see how it's got this, the dead and the rot around the outside. All this stuff right here. I don't mind that for myself. I will not sell that to somebody, but I don't mind it for myself. So, you know, sometimes the family will get that, or else I'll get that. Like I said, it burns well. It's better than just throwing it off in the woods somewhere and letting it rot, because it'll be there for 20 years. I got a couple small pieces of birch under there. So this will just be enough to round out that particular IBC tote. And then you can see here we've got some other stuff going on. I've got a pile of green that was taken off a job. And then I've got some more of this kind of, we call it a dozy, some more of that standing dead rock oak there that we'll be filling a few more IBC totes with. And then we've got our pole wood here, which I'm really looking forward to trying this out. We did purchase an old-fashioned buzzsaw for the back of the tractor. So all this stuff's going to go through the buzzsaw straight into a tote. That's been sitting for just about 12 months at this point. So once I cut it, I'll do a little moisture test, see where it's at. Theoretically, I could probably burn it later this year if I get it cut and covered now. But I will plan at this point on burning that wood next winter. We've also got some logs that were cut about the same time sitting here. And then we've got some rock oak and red oak that a buddy of mine dropped off to me the other day. He was working in the area. He said, "Hey, do you have any room for me to drop some logs? Because I ran out of room in the truck." I said, "Absolutely, we will take it." So that came from my buddy Frankie that was doing a tree job around the corner. So in this business, always happy to take wood that I don't have to move, and even happier when it shows up. So anyway, that's the plan for the day. Yeah, I guess that's about it. We'll set this camera up and we'll do a little bit of firewood work. So there we go. IBC totes are all offloaded. You see them over here behind me. They are sitting there ready to be filled with either hardwood, or we still need to cut probably 10 to 12 totes of sapwood to get ready for maple syrup season, which really seems like a long ways away, but it's really not. I mean, we're halfway through November now, and we usually see first boil somewhere late February. So it could potentially only be 3 months away before we really start boiling. Crazy, but that's just kind of the way things go. So the camera died on me, and I didn't have any spare batteries or chargers. I guess it got kind of cold, and that was just all she wrote, as it were. But we got our IBC totes offloaded, and if anybody is interested in those, I can get you in touch with Adam. He's, in my mind, definitely the best guy to go to locally for us for these IBC totes. So if anybody needs those, we can do that. I can get you his contact info. Email us, elmendorfacres@gmail.com. Or if you comment on the video, I'll try to get his contact info on there for you. Now, we did some sapwood, and we've got, I think, 9 totes ready to go for maple syrup now. And we've got 7 or 8 for the house. So we're definitely good for the house for the winter. And now we are working on next year's firewood for the house. So just a quick day of totes and firewood. Abby and the kids joined me up there today. Abby got to run the tractor for the first time, which was surprising to me that she had not run it before. We've had it for 3 years and she's never run it before. So she got a little on-the-job training today with the tractor, forks, and offloading the IBC totes off my dump trailer. So that's all for today, folks. Thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and share. We are almost at 1,000. We're right in the low 800s right now, and we would love to hit that 1,000 mark before the end of the year. So if you have subscribed, thank you very much. If you haven't, please subscribe and help us hit that goal. Thank you again.